Hello, let me tell you what I consider to be a good preparation for the lesson. Oh, I'll bring you the example. This is in New English File Book. Let's take lesson 1B. I expect that you take 2 pages. Well, to begin with, we will have to set the best end result for this lesson. The best end result for this lesson I'll formulate in simple sentence. By the end of this lesson, students will be able to describe a past event. It doesn't matter what past event, it might be their exam or their funny moment in their lives or a sport event. So they will be able to describe a past event using the rich variety of past tenses. I mean past simple, past continuous and past perfect. To achieve this aim, I'm going to do the following things. At the very beginning, I'm going to give them this leading activity. That is to say, I'm going to talk about cheating. Then I'll make them briefly read this text. The best end result of this stage is that they're prepared to talk about cheating in sports. The best end result of this stage is that they know the new vocabulary, and they know the form and meaning of the new vocabulary, and they know the form and meaning of they only get acquainted with the form and meaning of new grammar. That is to say, this is past continuous, past simple, and past perfect. This section will help me to explain to them the meaning of the 3 tenses. This is not enough. So I will do some more activity. This is because this is intermediate level, and I have explained to them on a pre-intermediate level the 3 tenses, but now I'm going just to revise. I will tell them, I will use deductive method here because I don't have time. I'll say, let's look at the board. This is the scheme of my actions which happened in the past. I came home, I opened the door, I washed my hands, I cooked lunch, then I watched TV, then I brushed my teeth and went to sleep. This is a simple narration, one after another, the beginning of an action, continuation, and the end of the action. So if actions are described like that, 1, 2, 3, one after another, they are all in past simple. This is called simple narration, all in past simple. If I ever stop somewhere here, for example, and start explaining what was happening around at the same time, some parallel activities, this is past continuous. For example, I came home, opened the door, washed my hands, cooked the lunch, and washed my hands, and as I was cooking lunch, my mother was watching TV and my father was playing chess with his friend online, and my cat was sleeping and my dog was barking. So if I stop the narration and I start explaining the actions which were happening in parallel, then I'll be using past continuous. This is how past continuous is used. By the end of this evening, I was and went to sleep. I was really tired because I had had a really difficult day. So, because I had had a really difficult day, I'm applying to something which happened before. This is why this is past perfect. Now, I might have begun my narration not from this very first action, but for example, from this action. I washed my hands, but before I had returned home, or before I had I had gone shopping, before I had seen my friend. You see? This is how I would explain to them past perfect. Then we would do some exercises on page 130 because I explained to them the meaning. Now it's time to practice. 130. Well, this is the explanation of present simple, past perfect and past continuous, which I'm not going to use. I will only take this part as a fantastic demonstration of what I have just explained. Now, when John arrived, they had dinner, one after another. This is why past simple, past simple. When John arrived, they were having dinner. This is again simultaneous actions. By the way, if the two actions are long, I would use past continuous in formulating the both. But if the first action, one of the actions is short and the second is long, but they happened simultaneously, I would use past continuous for the longer and the past simple for the shorter. That's what I would tell my students. For example, I was reading a book when she came. I was sleeping when the phone rang. The phone rang, it's a very short action. Open the door, short action. So open the door, past simple. The door opened exactly when I was eating, for example, like that. So, John arrived. When John arrived, they were having dinner. These two actions happened simultaneously, but arrived was a very short one. This is why we use it in past simple, and we're having dinner, a longer one. When John arrived, they had had dinner. John arrived, but before that, his friends had had dinner, had finished dinner. This is why we're using past perfect. Then I do the two exercises which practice their best understanding of the meaning of these grammar themes. By the way, the form, I'm not going to practice the form because by now they already know the form, that past simple is used with the second, with the past simple form. The past perfect is used with had plus past participles. I'm not going to tell them that because they already know that by this. I would just quickly refresh their memories. So the best end result of this page, Bank 1B, is students understood the form of the form and meaning of past simple, past continuous, and past perfect, doing some written exercises, doing the two written exercises. This is the best end result for this stage. The best end result of my explaining is that they understand the meaning with the help of these schemes. So by the end of this page, they have understood the form and meaning of the three past tenses, now it's time for them to practice. Let's practice more. They will have to retell the three stories using these tenses. What I would do, I would invite the best student to demonstrate first. I would ask him English. I would ask him to retell the story using the variety of past tenses. England were playing Argentina. Maradona scored a goal because these two actions were simultaneously. All right. The English players protested. Maradona scored a goal, then the English players protested. This is why one after another past simple. But the referee gave the goal because this is Maradona scored, players protested, referee gave the goal. Maradona scored, players protested, referee gave the goal. And this all happened as Argentina were playing versus England. You see? Then TV cameras showed again. This was action number 4. Action 3-1. Maradona scored a goal. English players protested. Referee gave the goal. The TV cameras showed. This is action number 4 in a consecutive order. That is to say, it will be past simple too. That Maradona had scored the goal with his hand. Later, the cameras showed that Maradona had scored. He scored before. This is why this is a past perfect case. This is how you're going to do that. Probably I would explain it to them. I wouldn't invite the best student. I would ask the best student to repeat the story. And then I would invite everybody to look at these two texts and to think about how they're going to write and actually write the forms of these verbs in brackets. Then I'd do some checking activity. I would ask any of the students to read his versions. The others would listen, and then I was using this scheme, the offered scheme. I would again analyze the two sentences. By the end of this stage, they have practiced the understanding of the meaning of these past tenses even further. Now it's time for production stage. As a production, I would offer them to write a short story, about a short funny story. A short story of the event they were attending. The best end result of this stage, of the production stage, is that students find it easy to describe any past event using the rich variety of past tenses, that is to say past simple, past continuous and past perfect. It could be, these are hints, these are helpers. A time you cheated in an exam or in a sport game. What were you doing? Where? When? Why did you cheat? What happened? What I was doing? I was taking my exam in Almaty 10 years ago. Because I hadn't prepared before, this is past perfect, I decided to cheat. But the teacher didn't notice, so I luckily passed the exam. This is the example of a story. They will be offered to do the same thing using these helpers to write stories and to tell in pairs. So by the end of this lesson, they will all, I will I will invite them all. Probably no. I would invite one student to a blackboard to tell his story, to read out loud his story using all the variety of tenses. And as he is telling his story, I would write schematically his story. This is called a performance. Then I would invite the second one. The rest are watching, and me writing this scheme. So I think that by the end of this lesson they will have the clearest notion of what is the difference between past simple, past continuous, and past perfect, because I'm going to engage their visuals, I'm going to engage their listening, but I don't think that they truly need to engage their listening skills here. And I honestly think that I won't have time for the listening activity offered here, but in case I will, I'll do a whole bunch of activities a typical listening activity requires. I'll tell it to you later.